Okay, this is a graphic that I had my wife create several years ago, and what it depicts for me is it's a ship out at sea, and the ship is the business. And you've been working for this company for a while, and you were an awesome individual contributor. And since you were such a good individual contributor, they decided to give you a promotion to manager, supervisor, leader, where you have other people working for you. Now, what happens is obviously the company can help you with this and give you some training and recommendations or whatever. But many times what they do is what you see in this picture is you just get thrown off like into the ocean. And then you end up being this right here is the company continues to sail and you are in a position where you need to learn to lead others in order to swim and get back to the ship. So obviously, if you're not able to do that, then you get fired. And this cycle just continues because what happens after you get fired is you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm not a good leader or whatever, but nobody gave you any training. Nobody helped you get there. This also can be the same thing as if you're a new business owner and you're trying to lead others and you don't have a lot of experience in that space. So over the last whatever number of years, I really started to think about this, and I felt like that a tool like this could help. So I called this the Officers Eat Last Teamwork Dynamics tool, and it's very, very simple. I like simplicity. I enjoy simplicity. So whenever I create any type of tool or framework, I try to make it as simple as possible. So in order to have a healthy team, and drive a team in the right direction or whatever it's about this balance between trust, respect, and like. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dive right in to this tool, and I'm going to explain to you how it works, and obviously you can start using it today. Okay, so this is you, and this is your team. You in this scenario that we're going to walk through is 4 people are your direct reports, or 4 people work in your company. Now, obviously, there are companies that have 50 people, 100 people, 10,000, a million, whatever. But a team, in terms of driving purpose, is normally a smaller element. So this is a small element. We're gonna learn on the small element, and then you can build this on top of there. So what is critically important for a supervisor, manager, leader is you've got to have an individual relationship with each member of your team. You can't just say, I have a relationship with my team. You have to develop an individual relationship with each member of your team. So Billy works for you. You've got to have a relationship with Billy. You've got to have one with Sally, Tommy, and Judy. Okay. Now, what I think gets lost in business a lot is you, the leader, have influence over the relationship that your team has. So the relationship that Billy, Sally, Tommy, Judy have with each other. You cannot control that relationship, obviously, but you have influence over and you have a responsibility to that as well. So let's take a quick look at what a winning team looks like. So for me, this is what a winning team looks like. So that's you right there leading your team. And you can see that they're in this rowboat. These oars are in an organized fashion. This rowboat looks like it's going in, a particular direction. Everything looks very organized. This looks like a winning team to me. This looks like a team that has trust with each other. They respect each other, and they might even like each other, okay? So let's take a look at the opposite of winning, obviously. So what does a failing team look like? So for me, this is what a failing team looks like, is this rowboat is in disarray. We've got oars in the water. The rowboat does not look like it's got the same heading as our winning team had. Billy should be right there. We don't even know where Billy is at. Okay, so this is a failing team right here, which is probably a team that does not have trust with the leader. They don't trust each other. They do not respect each other, and they may not like each other either. So let's take another look, and another example here is if this was your team right here. So a basket of apples. We know that if you have a basket of apples and you can just have one rotten apple, one bad apple in the team, and in this scenario, it's Billy because he wasn't even on the rowboat. So Billy can do what to your team? Billy can ruin the team. Just one bad apple can ruin an entire team. So this is something that we really have to be on the lookout for when we are leading our team and we're trying to balance trust, respect, and like. Now, I also enjoy quotes. So let's take a quick peek at a quote from Warren Buffett, pretty successful guy. He says it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So when we are leading our team, this should be kind of like in the back of our mind in terms of like the trust, respect, and likability that we try to exhibit on a daily basis with our team. So let's break down the tool. We're going to go into each word in the tool here. So for me, trust, the definition is a firm belief in the reliability, honesty, and competence of someone. So on your team, what you have to do is you're asking yourself, do I trust Sally? Is Sally technically competent and proficient at her job? Does she sustain, maintain, and enhance the reputation of the team and the company? Does she act in an ethical way? Does she produce results? I'm not going to go through every single question that you can ask yourself on whether you trust someone on your team, but you get the idea. You are asking yourself specifically if you trust Sally, and then you need to do this for each of your team members, okay? Now, here's what happens as well, is obviously anyone that works for you is they are going to be asking themselves questions as well. Do I trust the individual that I work for? Do I trust the company that I work for? So they might ask themselves questions like, am I getting paid what was in the contract? Am I getting paid in a timely manner? The benefits that the company has, are they administered in a fair way? Am I treated fairly? So all these types of questions, okay? And obviously each person on your team will be going through this as to whether they trust you and they trust the company. So now, one other point here, and again, like I don't know if this is news to people or not, but you have influence over whether each employee trusts the other employees, okay? And this is your responsibility to have an influence in this area. Once again, you cannot control this. You just have influence in this area. So they need to trust their fellow team members, that their fellow team members are actually carrying the weight for whatever their tasks are, whatever their responsibilities are. Does Sally, Tommy, Judy, because if they don't trust each other, and if they don't trust Billy, then who's going to do the task? Okay, so it's not their responsibility to do Billy's task. It's your responsibility to motivate, coach, mentor, everything else. Billy, if Billy is the one that's not carrying their weight. Okay, so let's look at respect. Respect is a way of treating or thinking about someone as a result of their abilities, qualities, or achievements. So once again, you're asking yourself specific questions on whether you respect Sally or not. So you show respect to your team by being firm and fair, by being consistent in your actions and decisions, and you help each person succeed. You listen to them. You remove obstacles. So you are proving that you respect Sally through your actions, again, by listening to them, removing obstacles, getting resources for them, all those types of things. So Sally will be asking herself, do you respect her? And then how she can prove that is that she works hard, she puts effort in, she strives to be better, she strives to succeed. And then that is an expression of showing respect to you and the company through her actions. So you need to see this from each member of the team. And then the employees, once again, they need to respect each other, because that's how we have a healthy team dynamics. We have healthy team dynamics if they respect each other. So they can express this through sharing resources with each other without you telling them to do that. They can teach each other new skills. There's all types of ways of doing this so that they can basically prove that they do in fact respect each other. So let's take a look at the word like. Describes your attitude or feelings towards someone. So this may be news to someone, but in the private sector, it is not critical to the success of your team whether you like every single one of your employees. Now, what I mean by that is like you think that they're your best friend, and you want to go shopping, you want to go play golf, you want to play tennis, like whatever it is. So if you have a team of individuals and you're kind of like, that's not somebody I would really want to go play golf with, tennis, it's not critical. You can't be, and we're going to dig down into this in a minute, but you get the idea so far. So here's the thing that's a little bit different on the employee to you is in most industries and professions, there has to be some likability towards the leader. In the private sector or an individual, they may leave, they may quit. So you cannot ignore this. It's just not your number one priority that you look at. Okay, so let's take a look at an example of this. So my background as a U.S. Marine is the U.S. Marine Corps. Depending on the team, the organization, it totally can be in nice harmony and nice balance. But at the same time, you can have a team that looks like this because the Marine Corps, because of the chain of command and the way everything's structured culturally, is there's a lot of respect and trust between individuals, whether they like each other or not, because they're focused on the mission. They're focused on the purpose of what they're trying to do. So likability doesn't necessarily have to be high, and you can still have a very successful team. So this was some boss feedback to me when I was a lieutenant colonel from Colonel Campbell, who was my boss at the time. Some people really don't like you. I don't really care because you're effective. And again, this goes back to the trust, respect that we had in the team, but the likability was not necessarily there. So in business, most of the time, you actually do need to strive for this. And for me, in business, as a business owner, in other roles that I've played in the private sector, I definitely try to go for this. I try to have this balance of trust, respect, and like, because it cannot be ignored. I don't want top talent leaving my team just because they don't like me. So I do not ignore it in the private sector. Okay, so we've already kind of talked about how you cannot control whether your employees like each other. You have influence in this area. And the way I like to look at this, I believe that like can lead to love and like can lead to hate. And this is the other reason why you cannot ignore it. So love leads to loyalty, superior performance. People saying, I love my boss. They're awesome. My boss, she is all, all this stuff. It leads to winning. It can lead to great friendships, all that stuff. So as an example, this is a picture of me and Mark. He worked for me when he was my assistant team leader when we deployed to Afghanistan back in 2011. So the first time we ever met was in 2010. We had never served together. We didn't know each other. And I think he would admit that when we first started working together, he really did not like me But we kept working together. We kept working on it. And, to this day, I'd say that we're really good friends. We talk a couple times a week. So it's like these are where these things can lead. Like, you don't have to necessarily have likability right out of the gate. Is as you continue to work with each other and you continue to get to know each other, is you may find that you have an awesome friendship and you actually love and care for each other. So hopefully your relationships will lead that way as well. So hate leads to these things, in my opinion. So it leads to lying, backstabbing, lower profits, and losing, quite frankly. So you cannot ignore this. You cannot allow this, obviously, like hate inside your team. You cannot hate the people that work for you. They should not hate you. They should not hate each other on the team. You can't do it. So as leaders, if you start to discover that you might have some of these individuals on your team, and they would be like a Billy, right? They would be like a rotten apple on your team. What do you need to do with them? So in short, you need to fire them. Now, you need to do this in an ethical and legal way. And you need to, whether it's Billy or whoever it is, you need to coach them, mentor them, like all these things, give them training, show that you care about them or whatever. But if they will not improve and they are exhibiting actions that they hate you, they hate the company, they hate their team members or whatever, then you gotta get rid of them. Okay. Now, as I've been saying, you got to be really careful with this because hate can lead to vengeance and revenge and everything else towards you personally. So you got to make sure that you're upright and ethical in your behavior through this entire thing. Okay. So having said that, is hopefully you understand the tool. Again, it's very simple, and I just walk through that thing, and I want you to start using it today. And remember, you've got some questions that you can ask yourself as you're progressing through the tool. Already hit some of those, so feel free to kind of go back and watch some of those questions that I had. And there you go. So I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the Officers Eat Last Teamwork Dynamics tool. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.